For 40 years, Unit 1 of 3 Mile Island stood as a monument to fear. It was the site of the worst nuclear accident in American history, a symbol of a technology the world wanted to forget. But in September 2024, something impossible happened. A deal was signed to bring it back to life. Not by the government, not by the military, but by Microsoft. Why? Because the digital brain of Copilot and OpenAI has a hunger that wind and solar simply cannot satisfy. Welcome to Info AI Pro. Today we are not talking about code. We are not talking about algorithms. We are discussing the one physical constraint that threatens to halt the entire AI revolution: thermodynamics. The biggest bottleneck for AI in 2025 isn't chips, it isn't data, it is the physical grid itself. We are witnessing a strange historic pivot where big tech companies are morphing into energy states. From Microsoft buying nuclear reactors to Sam Altman pouring billions into fusion, the race for superintelligence has officially become the race for infinite energy. Let's trace the power lines to see where this ends. To understand why Microsoft, Amazon, and Google are panic buying power plants, we need to look at the math per token. For 2 decades, the internet was light. A Google search costs almost nothing in terms of energy. But generative AI is heavy. According to the Electric Power Research Institute, a single query to a model like GPT-5 or Claude 4 uses roughly 10 to 30 times more electricity than a standard Google search. To visualize this, generating one AI image takes as much energy as fully charging your smartphone. Now, multiply that by billions of users daily. We are seeing a phenomenon known as Jevons Paradox. As AI chips like the NVIDIA H100 and H200 become more efficient, we don't use less energy, we simply build bigger models. In Northern Virginia, known as Data Center Alley, which handles 70% of the world's internet traffic, the demand is skyrocketing. Utilities are now telling tech companies that if they want to build a new data center, they might have to wait until 2028 for a power connection. This gridlock is forcing companies to take drastic measures. They are realizing that reliance on the public grid is a strategic weakness. But existing data centers are just the tip of the iceberg. We need to talk about the rumors of Project Stargate. According to leaked reports from The Information, Microsoft and OpenAI are planning a supercomputer project estimated to cost $100 billion. To put that in perspective, that is 100 times more expensive than some of the biggest data centers operating today. This supercomputer, set to come online around 2028, would require 5 gigawatts of power. 5 gigawatts. That is roughly the amount of power needed to run New York City. You cannot just plug a city into the existing grid. You have to build a dedicated power infrastructure just for the machine. This is why we're seeing the nuclear pivot. Solar and wind are fantastic, but they are intermittent. The sun doesn't always shine, and the wind doesn't always blow. AI training runs cannot stop. If the power cuts for a millisecond, millions of dollars of training progress can be lost. They need base load power, power that is on 24/7. This necessity has driven Amazon to buy a data center directly connected to the Susquehanna nuclear plant in Pennsylvania. They went behind the meter, bypassing the public grid entirely to suck energy directly from the reactor. While everyone is focused on electricity, there is another resource being drained at an alarming rate: water. High-end AI chips like the NVIDIA H100 and H200 run incredibly hot. Traditional air conditioning is no longer enough. We have moved to liquid cooling. A study by the University of California, Riverside suggests that by 2027, global AI demand could trigger a water withdrawal of 4.2 to 6.6 billion cubic meters. That is more than the total annual water withdrawal of Denmark, or half of the United Kingdom. In West Des Moines, Iowa, just months before GPT-4 was finished, the local water utility noticed a massive spike. OpenAI was effectively drinking the district's water to cool the supercomputer cluster. For our viewers in Europe and the drought-stricken western United States, this is a massive political issue. We are approaching a future where local farmers are competing with chatbots for the same water table. Google and Microsoft have pledged to become water positive by 2030, but as models get larger, the physics of thermodynamics makes this promise incredibly hard to keep. Even if we solve the power generation and the water cooling, there is one more hurdle: the mundane, boring hardware that makes the grid work. Transformers. These are the heavy metal boxes you see at substations that step down high-voltage electricity so it can be used. Due to the AI boom and the electrification of cars, there is a global shortage of transformers. Sourcing high-voltage transformers used to take 6 to 8 months. Now, supply chain lead times are pushing 3 to 4 years. Elon Musk predicted this explicitly. He said, first we had a chip shortage, next we will have a transformer shortage, and then an electricity shortage. We are currently deep in phase 2 of that prediction. This hardware shortage means that even if Microsoft builds a nuclear reactor, they might not have the transmission equipment to move that power to the processors for years. So, is the solution just to burn more gas? Or perhaps the dream of fusion? Sam Altman has personally invested hundreds of millions of dollars into Helion Energy, a fusion startup. His vision is a closed loop. AI solves the physics of fusion, and fusion provides the infinite energy to run the AI. It sounds like science fiction, but Microsoft has already signed a pre-purchase agreement with Helion for 2028. They're betting real money on a technology that doesn't commercially exist yet. This brings us to our verdict. We often think of AI as cloud computing, fluffy, light, and intangible. But the reality is concrete, copper, uranium, and water. As we move into the era of GPT-5 and Project Stargate, the limiting factor of human progress is shifting. It used to be information. Now, information is free. The new scarcity is energy. The companies that control the electrons will control the intelligence. We are watching the merging of the tech sector and the energy sector into one massive industrial complex. I'm curious about your take. Is the promise of superintelligence worth the massive environmental cost? Or should we put a cap on how much energy these models can consume? Let me know in the comments below. Info AI Pro. Your ultimate destination for everything artificial intelligence. I'm SIKK. This is Info AI Pro, where we connect the dots others miss. Thanks for watching.